Ciao, scusatemi, mi sono spaventato da solo. Innanzitutto grazie di esserci questa sera perché so da artista e da pubblico che non è facile, a volte quasi umiliante, ma è un piacere condividerlo, quindi grazie di esserci davvero. A noi fa bene, spero anche a voi. Quello che andiamo a fare adesso stasera come Blind Case Salamander e Omar Bovenzi sono 3 moduli di un progetto più articolato che è nato nel 2018. È nato nel 2018 in seguito a un primo viaggio alle isole Svalbard da parte mia e di mio marito Paul Bisham, che è stato una vacanza, quasi un viaggio di nozze, e nonché un sogno di esplorare il nord, che è sempre stata un po' una nostra mania. Ci siamo innamorati di questa terra e abbiamo cominciato a ragionare come potevamo condividere questo amore col linguaggio che è il nostro, che è quello della musica. Dopo altri 2 viaggi ne abbiamo fatto uno, che era più una forma di residenza artistica, che abbiamo condiviso con Omar, con i nostri amici di Shushu, e in collaborazione con la produzione di una compagnia teatrale torinese che si chiama Il Mutamento e di un artista visuale, visivo, performer che è Gianni Colosimo. Abbiamo messo tutti questi elementi assieme in un progetto che ha una forma compiuta ma che non è detto che possa averne altre nel futuro, quindi è ancora in evoluzione, e nello specifico la forma di un concerto, che è quello che andrete a vedere stasera, di un documentario fatto da Omar che aprirà la serata, di un video sempre fatto di Omar, di una performance di Gianni Colosimo che si è svolta alle Svalbard durante la nostra residenza, di uno spettacolo teatrale che non andrete a vedere questa sera, e di 2 album che, se volete, uno lo ascolterete e l'altro è tutte le musiche che sono state fatte da me poi per i vari moduli del progetto. Sono 2 album che, tra l'altro, momento marketing, potete acquistare a fine serata se avrete piacere di farlo. Prima di lasciare il microfono a Omar e a Paul se vuole aggiungere qualcosa, ci terrei a dire che questo lavoro, nel momento in cui viene messo in scena, oggi come oggi, nonostante abbia soltanto 2 anni, è già vecchio. 3 anni, è vero. Come passa il tempo? È già quando ci si diverte, come passa il tempo? È già vecchio. E in un certo senso ne siamo anche fieri, nel senso, per quanto sia triste il motivo per cui è vecchio. È vecchio perché le Svalbard, essendo il centro, nello specifico la città di Longyearbyen, dove noi eravamo la base delle nostre operazioni, è il centro abitato più a nord, abitato in modo permanente, quindi non basi scientifiche, ma una città a tutti gli effetti, più a nord del pianeta, e quindi anche quello più esposto ai cambiamenti climatici. Di questo ovviamente nel documentario se ne parla, e noi crediamo se ne parli anche nelle musiche e in tutti gli altri aspetti del lavoro. Quindi la realtà che noi abbiamo messo in scena e che abbiamo documentato non è già più quella che in questo momento si potrebbe percepire. I dati sono abbastanza impietosi, quel che sta succedendo lo sappiamo, non voglio entrare io in dettaglio in retorica, se ne parla meglio nel documentario e comunque lo sapete. Un aspetto invece che è curioso e che ci riguarda direttamente, nel documentario, che sostanzialmente sono testimonianze di persone che vivono a Longyearbyen e vivono in un tessuto sociale particolare, che ha molti pro. Uno innanzitutto di essere una comunità aperta dove non c'è una nazionalità, dove non ci sono confini, dove non ci sono permessi di lavoro, quindi una comunità amministrata dalla Norvegia ma politicamente invece internazionale ed aperta. Ha anche dei limiti, che questi veramente li vedete nel documentario, non sto a elencarveli, però una delle persone intervistate, che è stata anche la nostra guida durante il nostro soggiorno, era forse quello che aveva la visione più utopica. E per utopia intendo un progetto, non un qualcosa di irrealizzabile. Infatti lui l'ha realizzata ed era quella di coltivare verdure sul permafrost, al circolo polare artico, in modo da sostenere la comunità stessa. In seguito al Covid questo sistema è crollato, in quanto i finanziamenti vengono dati, appunto, ve l'ho detto, è amministrata dalla Norvegia, vengono dati dalla Norvegia, però è un territorio internazionale. Lui non è un cittadino norvegese, perché nessuno alle Svalbard è cittadino di qualcosa se non della sua nazionalità di origine, i finanziamenti non sono arrivati e il sogno, che non era più un sogno ma era una realtà di un ciclo produttivo chiuso all'interno della comunità, purtroppo è già finito. Io trovo questo molto triste, ma anche un chiaro segnale di come certi meccanismi forse andrebbero rivisti. Do il microfono a Omar se lo vuole, se non lo vuole glielo do lo stesso perché devo accordare la viola. Grazie.
Direi che hai già detto tutto tu. Io volevo aggiungere questa cosa di Benjamin e niente. Buona visione, buon tutto, buona serata.
When I first started telling people that I was going to Svalbard, the first reactions that I got were almost always, "Where's that?" And yet, Svalbard is anything but a forgotten land. When you set foot on Svalbard for the first time, you feel the physical sensation of being at a high altitude, at the top of the world. The spontaneous reaction to its landscape is suspension, silence. The vicinity to the North Pole can be seen and felt. The temperature in the winter is frigid, but nonetheless, you can feel that this place is there to take you in.
This is a very special society in a way because according to the Svalbard Treaty, everyone from countries which have signed the treaty can come here and they can stay here without any visa or anything. The only thing is that they have to have some work to do. They have to provide for themselves and they have to manage their lives up here. And I think this is a very, very fine thing because we people, who are living here in Longyearbyen, we don't think about where people come from. We just see the persons. So we have no problem with racism or anything like that.
The community here is very nice to live in. A lot of my friends have children on the same age and are in their working phase in life. There is not any place to be old here. So that means that most of the people are between 30 and 50 years old. It's a nice place to have children. It's short distances to their activities and all those things. So far it's been mainly Norwegian living here, with also some groups of Thai people and of course other Scandinavian people. We see now a trend that it's changing. We got a lot of foreigners coming, like Philippines especially, looking for job, working a lot in the tourist business. I know that the government is looking into that business at the moment, so it might change.
And so it goes that there are those in Longyearbyen who have built their own businesses. Businesses which are often difficult to imagine when placed inside that geographic and natural context.
I'm from a foodie family, actually, and I'm a chef. So I've always really loved food, and my mom was actually married to an Italian guy, and he got us very into much to food, and we didn't eat like typical American food, like Christmas food, ham, turkey. We would eat like seafood soup, and we would eat like octopus and many different interesting things. So for me, food was always very important, and coming here, it's very difficult with the food. I've only eaten fresh fish, and then when you come here, you only eat frozen fish, and it's quite difficult. So when I lived in the States, I never had time to do anything because I just work. I worked all day long. And I would remember, like, I had 2 jobs, and like I have like an hour break in between the 2 jobs. So I would sit in the car and just read like these permaculture magazines or read like this homesteading magazines. But for me, it was always like a fantasy. I never thought it was real. I was like, how can people just live without money, live without, you know, anything, and just live in the woods somewhere? But I was so fascinated by it. I was thinking I would love to do that, but I didn't think it was really possible. I thought it was just like fairy tale. And then I came here, eventually got a job at the Radisson Hotel, and it was the first time in my life where I only worked 7.5 hours a day. So then I have all this time. It's like, what do you do? So in the beginning, of course, you go out, you drink, you party, but then it gets old, it gets boring. So everything started to come out. They were looking for a DJ, and I always loved music. I played instruments in school, but for some reason I just moved away from it. And I said, yeah, I want a DJ. And they said, are you a DJ? And the manager was like, well, he's a chef, DJ, same thing, let him try. So they gave me a try, and then I DJ'd, and I've been doing that since like 2011. So I DJ every weekend at the nightclub, and then I like had this place, and you know, before it used to be a bakery. That's why they had this, and they would bake bread here. But you know, back in the States, I was working overnight as a baker and working during the day as a chef, and I didn't want to go back down that rabbit hole of working 24 hours a day. So I said, I'm gonna grow food in here. And I bought these hydroponic machines actually from Italy. There was some hydroponic machines, and I was actually growing salads and, you know, all types of stuff. And that's how it started. It was just from me wanting to have the freshest food possible. I was the head chef at the Svalbard restaurant. And I said, I want to grow my own food. And that's what it started from. But then, you know, I had to ship up fertilizers. And for example, I was ordering from UK like 15 liters of fertilizer, 25 pounds, and then 25 pounds to ship it. So it was like, yeah, you can grow a bunch of food here, but you still have to ship up fertilizers. And at the end of the day, the longer I stayed, the more I started to find out. And one day somebody told me, do you know where the food goes? Because I thought it was like magic, you know, you push the button, disappears, you know, and then, you know, problem solved. But someone said, do you know where all that goes? I said, no, where? I said, it goes straight into the sea. And then after they told me that, I couldn't be ignorant anymore, because once you know, it's like, we're just dumping everything into the sea. So I wanted to do something about it. So that's why I wanted to start composting. That's why we want to try to make biogas. That's why we want to produce eggs. We want to produce food, because people live here. And why do we have to ship everything when we can produce food here? So the project is evolving all the time. So we are growing these microgreens that we sell to the hotels and restaurants. This is radish. This one is a mix, actually. It's broccoli and red komatsuna. We have the pumpkin seeds. This is the one, the hotel, they actually give us the seeds. They use pumpkin and they give us the seeds, and we grow this only for them. And we have the fennel here, which we're also growing. So it grows actually in this paper confetti, and what they do is they take the roots out, and then you can use the rest. So take the roots out, and then all of this we compost to the worms. So we would dump this into the worms, and then they will produce the castings that you see here. So this is all from our worms. We produce this, and then we're going to grow in this barrel here. And then these ones, what they do is they use it like a garnish, or you can use it for sandwiches or salads. And then, yeah, it's really good. It's very fresh. The flavor is very intense. So that's why the chefs like it, because this is like eating a baby vegetable. It's very concentrated. The flavor is very good and it's actually quite healthy. So that's what we do here. We have some other systems going. We're trying to grow coriander here. We have coriander. And we also have some salads in here. So that's everything we're growing here. And the whole point is just to grow as much food as possible. We have a hydroponic machine. We have this soil-based machine. And yeah, that's what we do here.
I live in Longyearbyen in Svalbard. Been living here for almost 20 years now. And started this through an establishment in 2003 to try to create a meeting point for the people in Longyearbyen. The reason being that we live in very small apartments in the town, and I would like to have some place that people can come and enjoy some nice homemade food and coffee. Almost 5 years ago, we would like to increase the nice things that we offer our customers, and we started up with a chocolate factory. Also because there are very few locally produced souvenirs here, and actually none. So that was also one of the reasons why we started up with the chocolate. It is something that it's easy to bring with you. It doesn't take too much space. It tastes fantastic. You can be really creative with chocolate, and I am a creative person and like to explore the different tastes, and there is a lot of possibilities with chocolate. So that's together with the fact that we don't have any flower shop here is also a nice way of buying a present for somebody you love, and yeah, so it will be a lot of benefits also for the local people, for the tourists, and for people who want to thank somebody for some favors.
Longyearbyen is a small collection of stories and history.
Longyearbyen was founded in 1906 by the American mine owner, John Monroe Longyear. And since then it has grown from being a company town, where everything was owned by the mines, and into a family society and a normal society like another small town in Norway. I was very fascinated of the nature, and I had an old uncle who had been here many years ago, and I heard a lot about this place, so I tried to come here for several years actually. But now I've been here now for 14 years, and it's so long ago, so I don't really remember why I came here. The idea with the museum was to show people and tourists the history of Svalbard, why it's important to take care of this, and also the nature. We have some shifting exhibitions, but this one is stable, and it's here all the time, and it tells about the history, it tells about the wildlife, and about a little bit about the mining and the industries. What I've seen about the town, the town's growing all the time, There are new houses every month. Very much people coming here now, much more than before. And also the weather situations. You have maybe heard about the big avalanches 2 years ago and last year. That means that there are very big changes in where people will stay and where new houses are built and things like that. So also the mining industry has gone down. So there are quite big changes in this society now, yes.
There is a place in Longyearbyen, a structure with a totemic aspect which guards an enormous genetic heritage.
The Svalbard Global Seed Vault is a facility that offers space for securing copies of seeds that are stored and conserved in regular gene banks all over the world. The idea is that the Seed Vault is a part of an international system that is functioning just now. Gene banks experience small disasters, flooding, wars, lack of electricity, and there are a lot of reasons why gene banks may lose their genetic material. And the Seed Vault is like a bank box. If they lose the material in their own gene bank, they can get it back from the Seed Vault. We have, of course, built it for a far future, but that is not the idea of the Seed Vault, to just keep the seeds for a very remote future. That is not the idea. There is an international institute in the Middle East called the International Center for Agricultural Research in Dry Areas, ICARDA. The center had the headquarters and the gene bank in Aleppo in Syria, and they have sent deposited seeds in this bank box in Svalbard since the Seed Vault was opened in 2008. And when the access to the seed collection in Aleppo was hindered, obstructed, they were able to receive their copies from Svalbard, and these seeds were sent to Morocco and to Lebanon, and they are establishing new gene banks there. ICARDA have units in several countries, and they has chosen to use units in Lebanon and Morocco for establishing these new gene bank collections. The tunnel into the seed halls deep inside the mountain has not been completely watertight. So during summer times, during melting periods, some water has entered into the tunnel, and it's important for us to prevent this water from coming in. So this year, the Norwegian government has decided to build a new, completely watertight tunnel from the entrance and into parts of the Seed Vault facility. It was expected that the soil around this tunnel would freeze, and that the permafrost would re-establish in these soils, but that has not happened, and this is probably due to warmer climates in Svalbard. It's correct that Svalbard is Norwegian territory, but it still has some kind of international status, and not at least international atmosphere. People from 40-50 different countries are working and staying there, and many countries having conflicts outside have deposited seeds. And we have seeds from South and North Korea, we have seeds from the United States, we have seeds from Ukraine and Russia side by side. So I used to say that the Seed Vault is a place where conflicts are cooled down, And it's quite inspiring to see that in the seed vault all countries cooperate in the very important task to conserve these plant genetic resources for future food supplies. And yes, the seed vault has become quite an iconic symbol of conservation of genetic material, genetic resources, and also a symbol of international cooperation. So hopefully it can also inspire more countries to cooperate. So far, a lot of countries, a lot of institutes, a lot of public institutions having gene banks have deposited seeds, but still there are a lot of countries and institutes that has not sent copies of their seeds to Svalbard, and Italy is actually one of these. So it would be very nice to see that some gene banks in Italy would consider and decide to send copies of their seeds to the seed vault. At the moment, it's 2 samples of seeds from the University of Lombardy of maize, and this is all we have from Italy. So it would be very nice to see more cooperation with the Italian gene bank authorities.
Unfortunately, even this splendid land has its dark side, some of it coming from the lack of facilities adapted to certain situations.
You can't stay here until you are old and sick because we have no health services or social services, maybe we can call it. So when you are in a situation when you need help and or nurseries and things like that, you have to go back to the mainland, to your home place or somewhere else.
We've been living here for a long time, as I said earlier, and of course there are some thoughts regarding the future for our family. Me and my husband have both our own businesses, and we would like to stay here, but as it looks like now, we might be planning something else because we have a son that has Down syndrome, and the system here is not very including for people with other needs. He's starting for primary school, and in Svalbard they don't have to offer that. That's in the law, but they offer this for normal children, but they don't offer it for the children with needs. So then we had to apply in the mainland for a school for him, but they won't. We just got this message now that they don't want to help us out because he's too young. So now we are squeezed in the middle, and we don't have any possibilities for him from the autumn when he's starting.
There are other problems that have to do with climate change, which at this latitude have very obvious impacts.
CNR gestisce una stazione alle Svalbard e in particolare noi lavoriamo a Niale sulla stazione dirigibile Italia, si chiama, in memoria di Nobile, e questa stazione raccoglie un po', fa il lab di tutte le attività di ricerca che si svolgono in Italia, dall'Italia verso l'Artico. Noi sostanzialmente ci occupiamo di cambiamenti climatici, quindi questo è quello che noi andiamo a osservare attraverso il ritiro dei ghiacciai, attraverso la scomparsa del ghiaccio marino che abbiamo verificato in questi anni e attraverso gli effetti, diciamo, le misure in atmosfera e le conseguenze che il trasporto dai continenti, diciamo, sia dall'America che dal continente asiatico, dalla Russia, il trasporto di particolari, di materiale inquinante che si deposita sulla neve e favorisce lo scioglimento della neve e dei ghiacci marini, con delle conseguenze sul riscaldamento globale, diciamo, amplificate in questo senso, perché la neve diminuisce e le superfici bianche sono più riflettenti, quindi aumentano invece le superfici scure che sono assorbenti di calore. Io andai circa 20 anni fa, nel 1998, nelle Svalbard, a Nialesu nello specifico, e ricordo benissimo che in questo periodo il fiordo era completamente ghiacciato, si poteva attraversare con la motoslitta. Adesso abbiamo visto non solo che è venuta a mancare la formazione di ghiaccio marino, ma c'è un ritiro dei ghiacciai che si affaccia sul mare molto drammatico. Vanno molto velocemente, tanto più il mare, l'acqua marina è calda, tanto più lo scioglimento è favorito, quindi c'è un avvicinamento, una precipitare del fronte del ghiacciaio che sta sul mare molto più rapido rispetto agli anni scorsi. Il processo è partito, la natura di per sé a volte si riequilibra per fenomeni molto più grandi di quelli che determiniamo noi, però sicuramente negli ultimi 200 anni l'immissione di carbonio in atmosfera, di anidride carbonica e di gas da combustione e prodotti da combustione sta determinando un processo che per certi aspetti potrebbe essere irreversibile.
We stayed in Longyearbyen for a little over a week, but this land gets inside of you. You get a lump in your throat every time you think about it. A feeling of being lost which you can't put into words. Its landscape, its sound, its wind, its sea, and its people which forge you, like an old Arctic explorer. Now we are certain that there exists a parallel dimension to this planet.
friendly society.
Everybody can come here. We don't think about where we come from. dark season here is totally different.
And I think this is a very, very fine thing, because we people, who are living here in Namibia, we don't think about where people come from. We just see the persons. So we have no problem with racism or anything.
didn't think it was really possible. I thought it was just a fairy tale. This is a very special society in a way because according to the Svalbard Treaty, everyone from countries which have signed the treaty can come here